Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reganelite's Viewpoint, episode 133 of this series, where we look at stories from the UK. Excuse me. We've got 6 different stories from the UK we're going to be covering here today, plus 2 funny videos. For those who don't know, this is what we normally do. We cover specifically UK news on this series pretty much every Monday at 8 o'clock. It's not very often that I miss a Monday live stream, but it's pretty much every Monday where I'm always here. I even managed to do it throughout the whole of December as well. Unbelievable, I know, guys. But yeah, we got 6 stories to cover, plus 2. I've got 2 funny videos. I thought I had 2 funny videos. Yes, I do have 2 funny videos. Yeah, why is that on there? Ah, okay, that's just been put up there for a mistake. Yes, and 2 funny videos for you guys here. Just a reminder as well, we are also not just live streaming on youtube.com/Reganelite, where most of our lovely people are, but we also are live on twitch.tv/Reganelite1 as well. So if you happen to be on there, feel free to wave, say hello as well, and do hit that follow button and bell notification icon to be notified of when I go live on that platform as well. So hello to anyone who's maybe lurking on the Twitch stream. And for those lovely people on YouTube, I appreciate you guys coming out of your way to join me for the show tonight. If you haven't already, hit that like button, share across social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're feeling a little bit generous, link at the pinned at the top of the chat is a buy me a coffee link if you want to give a little something for for tonight as well. Let's see who is in the chat for today. Ellie, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Billy Kershaw as well. Jao, one of our moderators. Good to see you, Jao. Guys, make sure you check out Jao's YouTube channel. He has his own YouTube channel as well. Well, at some point, my friend, I'd love to have you on just on my channel for at some point in the future if you're up for it. Doesn't have to be a round table. Could be just me and you, just for a chat. If you're ever interested in it, my friend, please let me know. Definitely would love to have you on in the future. Saz, good to see you there as well. Hope you are doing well. Jenny, good evening to you. Hope you are doing well. Mr. E, good to see you there as well. Hope you are doing well. And anybody else who are lurking in the chats. Right. I want to start with a really... there's quite a few stories. Obviously, the main story is obviously a bit about Trump and whatnot. And we will come to that, guys. We will come to that. But I want to start with this story here because... I think given the situation around it, and you guys know how those who have been, I'm sorry, I've just literally drank a bunch of water and I literally finished dinner about 10 minutes ago. So I apologize if I'm burping and all this kind of stuff. So I do sincerely apologize, guys. But I thought that that this piece here from Al Jazeera, I think given how I feel about the context of it, I think this is really, really important to talk about here. So, Maccabi football fans and the ousting of a UK police chief and why it matters. Expert warns that politicization of a policy decision sets a dangerous precedent for democracy in the United Kingdom. So, last month, obviously, I've set my piece already down many times about how I feel about the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans here. And I want to make this absolutely clear that I am not doing this from a perspective of discrimination and anti-Semitism against Israel. I have obviously a discrimination and anti-Semitism against Israel. I want to separate this topic from Gaza. I know some people will want to say, well, because of what Israel are doing in Gaza and whatnot. That is not what this is about, but that is what the government and the mainstream media are trying to pin this as. They are trying to link this as, because they're Israeli, this is anti-Semitism. This is the whole point that they're trying to make. But we know that's not what this is about. This is about football hooligans who are going to cause riot, going to cause damage to property, and damage to harms to people. We've said this enough times here on this channel, but I have to stress it again. This football club has fans that were going to cause serious damage and harm to people in Birmingham if they were allowed to attend this game. And apparently there was a fan who was escorted by police ahead of that game as well. between Aston Villa and Maccabi Tel Aviv in Birmingham. Yeah, so there was a fan there, obviously there, which is even though they were banned from it. So I do think this is important to talk about. So the resignation of the UK's West Midlands police chief, who banned Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from attending a football match in Birmingham last year. Again, it's really important context. I don't know why people are not saying this, but the football club made the decision to not have the fans attend as well. Like, I don't understand even why Al Jazeera is not putting this in their piece here. Has triggered concerns that pressure from pro-Israeli groups are being allowed to override policy decisions in the United Kingdom. I think we already knew that there are pro-Israeli groups influencing politics in the UK. That much is certain. We know that from Palestine Action and from some of the protests there. And the language that is being used around the peaceful protesters, and I do stress the word peaceful protesters, but it's becoming more and more prominent. That is for sure. Police decisions are supposed to be independent of the government or political influence in the UK, but the departure of Craig Guilford, Chief Constable of West Midlands Police, was a result of political pressure from pro-Israeli lobby groups amidst the heightened sensitivity around the issue of Israel and Palestine, legal and political commentators have said. In November last year, West Midlands Police recommended that Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans should be banned from attending the Europa League game against Aston Villa in Birmingham on public order and security grounds. This is the key thing. This is perfectly reasonable. Yeah, you have a Muslim majority area in Birmingham, lots of Muslim population, a strong Muslim population in there, and considering that the history behind Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, and these are Israeli fans, it's not a very good idea to have them mixed together. It's just a recipe for disaster. And it says here quite clearly on the issue of public order and security grounds. Okay, nothing to do with them being Israeli, nothing to do with anti-Semitism, nothing to do with what's happening in the Middle East. Remember, that's what is stated, right? So West Midlands Police said it had classified the match as high risk based on current intelligence and previous incidents, including violent clashes of hate crime offences that occurred during the 2024 UEFA Europa League match between Ajax and Maccabi Tel Aviv in Amsterdam. Based on our professional judgment, we believe that this measure will help mitigate risks to the public safety police force said at the time. The decision was ultimately approved by Birmingham City Council Safety Advisory Group, a multi-agency body that brings together police, local authorities, and emergency services to assess the safety risk at major events. And again, like even the City Council understood this, right? There was a public outcry in numerous media opinion pieces called the ban anti-Semitic. Yeah? So even though it was based on public order and security grounds and based on the fact that they've had violent clashes, they called it anti-Semitic. Yeah? That pressure has since intensified, and last week the UK Home Secretary Shabir Mahmood, who is also her head firmly up pro-Israeli group's arse as well, has stated she had lost confidence in Guilford following criticism by a police watchdog of how the ban was handled. Guilford resigned on Friday. So he did bow to pressure. Observers say Guilford's departure is a sign that policing decisions which interest the issue of Israel and Palestine are no longer insulated from political consequences. The reason for this, said Chris Naden, vice chair of the British group Stop the War Coalition, is that most politicians are too scared to challenge the pro-Israeli mainstream consensus. They are, or they're being paid by them. Pro-Israeli groups have too much influence in British politics, and it needs to be challenged. He believes the fallout from the ban will have lasting consequences from future policing decisions. I think it will reinforce the tendency for police forces to go along with the established bias against Palestinian supporters, which is a product of the British ruling class support for Israel and reinforced by Israel's impressive lobbying operation, we called Al Jazeera. Yep. Unfortunately, that is the case. Franz Weber, a retired barrister who writes on politics, human rights and the rule of law, said the significance of Guildford's resignation extends far beyond football and crowd control. In the UK, police forces are operationally independent of government, and any case against Guildford should have been pursued judicially, not politically, she explained. The visible role of central government in the fallout from this policing decision, she argued, sets a very dangerous precedent, not just for police and local authorities, but for democracy. Supporters of the ban on Maccabi fans attending the match in Birmingham argued it was rooted in a risk assessment shaped by events abroad and local context. Again, this is not true. This is simply not true. I'm really angry that this match, that the fixtures made it possible for this match to happen in the first place as well. In 2024, Dutch authorities reported serious disorder involving Maccabi supporters in a match in Amsterdam, with violence both before and after the fixture. Intelligence shared ahead of Birmingham match. British police said their Dutch counterparts informed them a significant number of visiting fans have been involved in organised confrontations and disturbances. So even here, even when, even if it wasn't in Birmingham, if it was somewhere else in England, you can tell that there was a data sharing here. Birmingham is one of the most UK diverse cities, with around 30% of its residents Muslim and more than 40% identified as Asian or from minority ethnic backgrounds, according to 2021 consensus. Again, I've said this before, right? But I want to remind you guys, like, I can absolutely guarantee you, if the fans had went to this match, if they had went ahead with this match, there would have been violence, there would have been bloodshed, there would have been, people may have died. Yeah, and then we would be talking about why was this match why were the fans allowed to attend this game? They would have been saying after, they would be saying in the aftermath of all the bloodshed, of all the damage and everything after it, they would, both before and after this game, they would have said, why were the fans allowed to attend this game? This, I guarantee you, this would have happened. This would have happened. This absolutely would have happened. Officers were therefore concerned that the arrival of a large number of high-risk and visiting supporters could spark tensions and even retaliatory disorder. Nadim argues, therefore, that while procedural mistakes had been identified by a police watchdog, the underlying policing decision about the match in Birmingham was sound. The undeniable violence element with the Maccabi vans would have been a risk to the local population, he said. Webster also points to reports from visiting Maccabi fans in Amsterdam had openly celebrated the killing of children in Gaza, and officers would have to consider this when assessing the risks surrounding the Birmingham football fixture. But obviously, pro-Israeli groups don't have a problem with the deaths of killing children. So why was the ban called into question at all? Last week, a police watchdog by Sir Andy Cook, Chief Inspector, His Majesty's Inspector of Constabulary, found that confirmation bias had influenced how West Midlands Police assisted in presenting the intelligence he had received about Maccabi fans to the SAG. Remember, this is from Al Jazeera. This is not a UK political, you're getting this from Al Jazeera, who are a lot more open about this, a lot more a different confirmation side of this here. Again, where's the confirmation bias here? It's about safety here, and they want to, obviously, they don't want any criticisms towards Israel in any way, shape or form. It reported that Dutch police had questioned the intelligence UK police claimed to have received from them. According to a report by the UK newspaper The Guardian this week, Dutch police said key claims about the violence in Amsterdam relied on by West Midlands Police to reach its decision to ban Maccabi fans did not align with its own experience. Interesting. So it reported that Dutch police had questioned the intelligence claimed to have received from them. Dutch police said key claims about the violence in Amsterdam relied on West Midlands to reach its decision did not align with its own experience. What do you mean did not align with its own experience? In hindsight, I'm pretty sure in hindsight, given what happened, if you were to ask the Dutch police, would you have banned those fans from attending the game? Given what happened before and after the game, I think they would have said yes. Something doesn't feel right there. The report also criticised the police reliance on artificial intelligence. In particular, erroneous general, such as references to a football match between Maccabi and West Ham that never took place. Guildford Labour apologised after initially telling MPs that AI had not been used, before clarifying that the error stemmed from an AI-assisted search tool. That did not help him. Since Cook's interim report was published, much of the British media has framed Guildford's resignation as justified, citing the findings in the report. Yeah. However, the report found no evidence that the ban was motivated by anti-Semitism, despite repeatedly claims to that effect. Yeah, but this is the picture that they're painting. Yeah, because they're trying, the British media and the government are trying to paint to the British public, right, that these fans were denied going to this game on the basis that they were Israeli. That's the picture they're trying to paint. So they're trying to subvert the British public into believing that, hey, innocent Israeli fans were denied going to a football game by this terrible police commissioner. That's the picture they're trying to paint. And obviously, you have to be a fucking idiot to not realise that Israeli football fans going to Birmingham, which is a considerable Muslim and Asian and mainly brown people in that area. Like, you have to be a fucking idiot to not see the warning signs there. Like, yeah. They're trying to paint this picture. Critics of the report, including Jewish Voice for Labour, however, have argued that there was an imbalance when it came into weighing concerns from different members of the community. Groups said that despite disparities showed that Muslim safety had been marginalised during this process. What a surprise. So I just wanted to play this here as well. This one. I thought this was quite interesting here because it kind of stems from like different football fans being banned from games, because it's not like it hasn't been new before. It's not like we haven't seen fans been banned from football games. But I wanted to share this one before we go to our next story, guys.
Now, let's get one thing straight. Banning away fans in European football matches isn't new. It's rare, but it does happen. And when it does, it highlights the balance between fan access and public safety. This is game theory, where sport is more than just a game. English club Aston Villa are scheduled to host Israeli club Maccabi Tel Aviv in November. But fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv won't be allowed to watch the game at Villa Park after West Midlands Police classified the match as high risk. Now, this decision sparked an immediate backlash from British and Israeli public figures who called the ban discrimination. So what triggered this move? One, previous behaviour. Violent clashes broke out around the 2024 Europa League match between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Ajax in Amsterdam after reports of provocative chants by Israeli fans and counterattacks from local residents. Two, geopolitical tensions. Local police were concerned about their ability to control potential protests surrounding the ongoing genocide in Gaza. By the way, 4 days after that ban on Maccabi Tel Aviv fans in the UK was announced, the Israeli Premier League Tel Aviv derby between Maccabi and Hapoel was cancelled after riots broke out in and around the stadium. But let's pull out a bit here, because Maccabi Tel Aviv fans aren't the only ones to be banned from away games. Eintracht Frankfurt fans can't go to Napoli to watch their Champions League match after a high-risk assessment was made. Now, it goes back to when Frankfurt fans clashed with police during their Europa League tie in Rome back in 2024. In October, Frankfurt had asked UEFA to move the upcoming game to a neutral venue, but UEFA said no because local security decisions fall under national authorities. Plus, its rules don't allow matches to be moved simply because away supporters are barred. Now, Frankfurt's complaint highlighted a growing pattern in European club football. There have been 15 official away fan bans in UEFA competitions since their supporters were first banned from travelling to Naples in 2023. But overall, just think of it this way. Every time there's an incident, there's a red strike against you. When authorities review the risk, that past record can weigh heavily against you. Remember, police and football federations share intel through Europe's national football information points and Europol's Project Stadium. So in other words, where provocation occurs, there could be consequences. But away fan bans aren't unique to Europe. This year, the Argentina Football Federation lifted a 12-year ban on away fans in domestic matches. It had been in place since 2013, at the height of match violence when a fan was shot in the chest. So, what's the solution? Let me know what you think. Should games be moved to a neutral venue, or should away fan bans stand?
I think, if I'm absolutely honest, I think it's a case-by-case decision. I don't think it should be a case of, obviously, when we're talking about one particular football game because of the imbalances of anti-Semitism there, because the argument that we're talking about Israeli fans. But in general, I think it really depends on a case-by-case basis and how fans of, away fans of those fans conduct themselves. I think that's how it should be judged on. It should not be judged on. It shouldn't be a case of if one football club is like it, every football club should be the same thing. No, it should be judged on a case-by-case basis. But in the cases of Maccabi Tel Aviv there, and literally as a reminder there, it reminded us, of course, about the causes that the cause that was concerned, obviously, when back at home in their own Premier League fixtures there as well. So I think even that, plays in its part. But, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't think I'd spend 20 minutes on this one, but I'm really angry about this, guys. I'm angry about this because a police chief who did nothing wrong, who followed the rules, who, in my view, didn't look at it from any kind of politicalization, was looking at the position of making sure the health, the well-being, and protection of fans, of residents in Birmingham were looked after, and taking the best possible decision there. And he has been kicked out simply because it was an Israeli football club and because of pro-Israeli lobbying groups backing it. And I'm so angry that the British media did not point out enough about the fact of the history of this football club. There was a severe lack of pointing this out from the British media and from pundits, from pro-Israeli lobby groups and people who kept banging on about, how wrong it was to ban those football fans, and they just kept missing the point that these fans were violent, that they caused trouble, and they wouldn't point out the logic of where this was going to be happening as well. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. But yeah, this is another case of anti-Semitism getting involved where it shouldn't be getting involved there, guys. Let me just have a quick look at what you guys say in the chat, because I covered quite a bit on that there. Billy Kershaw, I'm agreeing with you here. Thank you, Billy. Good to see you there. You're talking about something else there with Counter Kev. Good to see you there. Ban football says blah blah. I don't think banning football in England is a good idea, if I'm honest there. Phil Nielsen, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. 234, good to see you there as well. Pete's Music as well. If I've missed somebody, I apologise. Didn't Maccabi fans get in trouble or banned at a match in Israel? Yeah, and we saw that from the video, of course, yeah. The last incident I remember are French fans being barred from a stadium here, says João in Portugal. Put in buses and returned to sender, and no one talked about any kind of discrimination other French fans were. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. My risk assessment of games here is spot on. The coppers even quiz me at times like, what level do you think this one is, says Mel. Not sure. Police guy did. He was slated for using AI, which is wacky hypocrisy regarding Grok. I will say though, I don't know why. I was about to say why. I don't know why they used AI. To be honest, they didn't. The information was already there. The fact they used AI wasn't there. No worries, Kirsty. You didn't. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. I like sports and playing them too, but I watch it on TV, says Jow. Yeah, I like sports too. I'm more wrestling than anything else, as you guys know, and I like going to them live as well. So, anyways, I need to refresh this. Sorry, 1 second. Right, so obviously Keir Starmer had his speech this morning, and it's not even worth talking about because it was. How can I put this? I think it was shit. I think it was weak. I think it was spineless. And it didn't really give any confidence, is what I will say, guys. But there is obviously another thing with regards to Trump's tariffs that could cause problems here as well. So it would cause higher prices and less choices on UK supermarket shelves. The supply chain experts have warned that it comes amid the warnings that the tariffs could tip UK's fragile economy into a recession here, guys. So this is what we could be. Let me just pause this. Thank you. Here. So Donald Trump's plans to slap a 10% tariff on the UK would leave Britain facing higher prices and less choice on supermarket shelves, the supply chain expert has warned. So the co-founder of the chief executive of Keychain, which works with major supermarkets to identify high costs in supply chain, told The Independent that tariffs would stay confined to trade statistics. He will start showing up in the weekly shop. It came amid warnings that the export levy could wipe 0.1% off Britain's GDP, increasing as much to 0.3% if the tariffs is increased to 25%, as Mr. Trump has threatened, a hit that could tip the UK's alien economy into a recession. The markets, I saw the markets this morning, both here and most markets did not react well since Trump threatening with the tariffs. Yeah, the markets are very, very hyperbolic. They were not happy about this talk about Greenland. Something tells me that businesses and wealthy leaders, that some businesses and whatnot, probably made some money off the jumping of the stock markets as a result of Trump as well. I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form if someone made money as a direct result of the stock markets jumping as a result of Trump's announcements over the weekend. But yeah, 25%, guys. On Saturday, the US president said he would charge Britain a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the US from the 1st of February, increasing to 25% from the 1st of June until a deal was reached for Washington to purchase Greenland from Denmark. Mr. Trump said the same would apply to Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, Netherlands, and Finland, all of whom are members of NATO. How am I going to purchase things in the future, guys, from America? How am I going to purchase my AW merch and whatnot in the future? Just not going to be able to now, am I? Hold on a second. What's that noise? Is that not plugged in? I was wondering what that noise was. 25%. And not only this also hurts American consumers as well. Like, it's just so... He's basically trying to blackmail European nations here. And I just don't think we should budge. I really don't. And like I said this morning, I don't think we should budge. And I think if anyone does, I think they're spineless. I really do. Disaster capitalism, yeah. It's a recipe for disaster. And I think Vosh made a good point on his video with regards to this as well. This is people close to him, very close to him, who literally want to acquire Greenland for its resources. People who are in the ear of the president, who are basically saying they want these resources, they need these resources. It's really, really important for the sake of the United States that we get our hands on these resources. And this is where it's coming from. This is where it's coming from. I'm hearing I've heard mixed messages from inside the US about this. So the option of military is unlikely because. And the reason why I think it's unlikely, at the moment, it can change obviously, is there's definitely a conflict of interest from a lot of American military leaders about it. They haven't. My understanding is that while they have been, the Trump administration wants to draw up military plans to acquire Greenland, they haven't really been keen on drawing up any kind of plans to do so. And obviously, the logical one is to buy Greenland from Denmark. This is something that Donald Trump wants here. And I don't see how, if Denmark is not willing to sell, and the Greenlandic people are not willing to become part of the United States. So what is the other option? How do you get out of this situation? I don't see how you can. Like, even if the United States gave them all the money and everything, it's not about that. It's about a lifestyle. It's about their home. It's their, we're talking about okay, it's not as big as population as other countries, yes, but this is their way of life. This is their homes, and they've always been there. And there were quite some protests in Greenland over it as well. I think they had Make America Go Away as well. So I'm not quite sure I really am kind of conflicted in what's going to happen here as well. Fritters can't be priced. Food stuff and memories and better times, says Phil Nelson there. UK being pushed towards the EU. How will Farage cope? Even if us being pushed towards the EU, we're still going to suffer because we're not part of the European. We're not part of the single market and customs union. So we are suffering significantly from that. The Chancellor is going to have to raise taxes again at the next budget. That was I already was like expecting that anyway, but obviously this is really harming us. This is going to really hurt us. And as somebody personally who's every now and then I like to buy certain things from America, specifically not from Amazon, but my favorite wrestling company, I have to obviously ship them from America. That cost is going to come on to me. I mean, it may not seem like a big deal, but but think about businesses who rely on trade with America as well, between the UK and the US. That's going to hurt as well. And of course, all the countries that are being applied, they're also going to suffer this consequence. Like, I just think it's just absolutely insane. It's just absolutely insane. But Trump doesn't care. Speaking about the US president's latest threats, Mr. Hanaran told The Independent a 10% US tariff on UK exports wouldn't stay confined to trade statistics. It would start showing up in the weekly shop. The US is one of Britain's most important export markets, and making that market more expensive to serve has knock-on effects that ripple through the food supply chain. For many British food producers, exports are what keep factories running at scale. When tariffs squeeze margins in the US, firms respond by cutting volumes, delaying investment, or trying to recover costs elsewhere. People will turn elsewhere. People, this will only encourage more people to buy less of American and buy more British or buy more European or whatever's cheaper. He added loose scale and unit cost rise, increasing the risk of higher prices, fewer discount, and less choice on UK supermarket shelves, particularly in process of branded food where volume matters most. Do you know what we really should do, guys? We should cancel that contract we have with the US when it regards to our NHS when it comes to pharmaceuticals. We really should cancel that deal. Just that deal, which is actually going to cost the NHS and cost us more. We should cancel that. That would piss off a lot of American healthcare companies, and we'll say to them, well, we have to subsidize the cost that Trump is doing, imposing the tariffs on us. That's what I would say to them. How will USF import affect your purchases, Regan? So I tend to buy AEW merchandise from America, and they get and that will cost I would say exporting, not importing. Exporting, so I'm getting them mixed up there. No, I don't think it. Well, I'm sure I'll be paying more anyway in some way, shape, or form from it. I think I'm getting mixed up between the import and export counter, Kev. Sorry, I'm losing my marbles. It's triggering my symptoms. Says any duck Mel. Don't worry. Ducky's here, Mel. Sorry, I just wanted to share that for you. Get Chinese knockoffs low. No, Wish.com is actually terrible. It's terrible. I did once buy from them a long time ago, and I was like, oh god, never again. Like, it was absolutely a terrible rip-off. Their rip-off stuff is terrible. Anyways, off topic. Loose scale unit cost rises, increase their higher prices, fewer discounts, less choice. Yep, we said that already. So far, Sir Keir Starmer's ruled out retaliation, saying the tariff war isn't in anybody's interest. And he's making sure that we don't get to that state, despite France and Germany weighing up hitting the US with retaliatory tariffs. See, France and Germany can afford to do this because they're in the European Union, but we can't. What I want to do is avoid a tariff war because it will be businesses, workers, and families across the country will be hit by a trade war. The PM says in the press conference on Monday morning. Warned that if the UK did decide to retaliate, the impact on consumers would be more immediate. Tariffs on US imports will raise costs on products and inputs such as nuts, peanut butter, core-based ingredients on food packages, materials, with those increasing passing through manufacturers and retailers into price, he said. Starmer needs to grow a spine. He needs to grow a spine on this situation. Meanwhile, John Wayne Evans, head of market analysis at asset management group RAF Bonds, warned that 10% tariffs could knock 0.1% off Britain's fragile economic growth. Yep, it's definitely going to do that. The economic impacts could not be underestimated. A 10% tariff could shape at 0.1% off GDP for the most exposed economics, notably the UK and Germany, while a 25% rate could hit output by 0.2, 0.3%. Also, all that faffing around and negotiations to get our steel tariff-free, that's just gone straight out the window as well. You know, all the efforts that the government made to try and protect our steel trade industry, the UK steel trade industry, from the tariffs. All that's gone down the bloody toilet from this as well. Like, yeah, it's just ridiculous, you know? You can't take any deals that you have with the US seriously. Just can't take any of them. No, I was getting confused, Kev. You weren't stressing me. I was just confusing myself. I was confusing myself between imports and exports. That's what it was. So, you know, it's all good. Ultimately, this episode reinforces a shift away from ever-increasing global integration towards a world defined by sharper spears of influence, a reality business and investors must increasingly plan and deal with, he added. Meanwhile, Paul Davis of Capital Economics estimated that the impact could be even worse than this, estimating that Britain's GDP would shrink from 0.3% to 0.75%. The new levies threatened by the US president are imposed on the top of the 10% import tax already applied to UK goods. So the UK economy currently growing by 0.2% and 0.3% a quarter. If this came hit, or it could trigger a recession, he said. A part of this, the way this is kind of being said, like, I'm not saying that a recession could happen, But I'm getting the impression here from this piece, and maybe it's just me, the people they're speaking to, the Independent. I'm getting an impression here is that they're trying to say maybe we should give up Greenland so that we don't hit a recession. I'm getting that impression here. Maybe it's just me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting that impression. I need to see other pieces from different media outlets to be sure. In a sign of seriousness in which the government appears to be taking threats from the US, Chancellor Rachel Reeves was among senior cabinet leaders sitting in the audience at the Prime Minister's announcement, having pulled out of Monday's meeting event of the London Stock Exchange. Yep. Sir Keir has also abandoned plans for a Monday cost of living relative visit at 11th hour to make the announcement, with the PM promising to speak with US President about Greenland again in the coming days after the two spoke on the phone on Sunday night. Monday's cost of living related visit. Cost of living has been pushed aside. Yeah, because that's definitely doesn't matter. Well, hopefully he does get on top of that at some point there, guys. Hopefully he does. Media propaganda. That's what I'm thinking. That's definitely what the people they had on there. Like, are we really, like, the question is, are we really going to hit a recession if we get hit by these Trump tariffs? Like that's, you know, I'm no economics expert, but it does sound to me like we can't go into a recession, guys. We just can't go into a recession. The repercussions are dangerous. Like, it gives off a vibe that we should give in. And we've already given in, and it's just like, you give in enough to this guy and he's just going to keep asking for more. Like, you can't satisfy Trump. His ego is far too big. You can't satisfy this tyrant. You just can't. Davos is going to be interesting. Oh dear, yeah, that is going to be interesting. Yeah, and blah blah just point out in the comments there. Let's try an appeasement. It worked out really well last time. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a state. It's not like we spent millions of pounds of taxpayer money putting out a state visit for a second state visit for President Trump, guys. It's not like we spent a huge waste of taxpayer money for a state visit that meant absolutely nothing. Oh, wait, we did. I'm sure tomorrow we will continue to talk about Donald Trump and his acquisition of Greenland on Global News tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So if you want to join me for that, for Global News, I'm sure we will be talking about that there as well. Moving on, guys, to another story here before we get to our funny story. Already gone 37 minutes in. Jesus. I keep saying economics have no emotions, and it's rather simple, but people do not believe in me. So, secrecy around UK military civilian harm risk undermining public confidence here. Interesting story. So, tribunal ruling airwaves investigation into Britain's conduct in bombing campaigns against ISIS in Syria and Iraq. So, let me read more into this. So, the British government's secrecy around how it tracks civilian deaths in UK military campaigns risk undermining public confidence in the process, a tribunal has found. The UK has no published guidelines for how it reviews and assesses allegations that civilians have been killed or injured in an attack, unlike its closest ally, the US. The ruling was made in response to a Freedom of Information case brought by the conflict monitor Air Wars as part of an investigation into the UK's record in its bombing campaign against Islamic states in Syria and Iraq. The US, which led the coalition of countries providing air support in the war on ISIS, has admitted killing more than 1,400 civilians with its strikes. Airways has sought more information about the single civilian death acknowledged by the UK. The British government said in May 2018 that one civilian was killed by a strike that targeted 3 fighters in eastern Syria earlier that year. But the strike was not logged in the records of civilian casualties kept by the US-led coalition and did not appear in a UK list of attacks that killed militias. Syrian human rights groups have no record of a civilian killed in an area on that day. I wonder why. The judge ruled against Air Wars based on national security considerations that were presented in closed court and therefore excluded from the ruling. However, he also found British voters had a legitimate interest in the nature, comprehensiveness and robustness of procedures to assess harm. The absence of any published procedure at all has the potential to undermine public confidence and to its integrity and comprehensiveness, the ruling said. While there is no reason to doubt the good faith and competitiveness of everyone involved, high-level assurances do not provide the same confidence as public procedure that can be scrutinized. The lack of public information about this process increased public interest in information about strikes Air Wars was investigating, the judgment said. UK politicians had the final say on whether to accept an assessment that British forces killed civilians. A Ministry of Defence official told the tribunal in the US a dedicated civilian harm assessment cell makes that judgment. So the British don't want to have their own, and they're rather hide behind the US's dedicated civilian harm cell here. Airways says the ruling was a landmark validation of the need for greater transparency about civilian harm in UK military campaigns. The judge has ruled that the British public have a right to know when civilians are killed in our name, said Air Wars Director Emily Tripp. While we may not have got the documents we were asking for, this tribunal's verdict is important official reconciliation of the damaging effects the UK's lack of public civilian harm politics has for the British public, for the military, and for civilians. The British, I want to make this clear, like, I think anyone who joins the military or is working for, who works for our Royal Army or Navy or any kind of those establishments, you know, it's a very brave thing. It's a very difficult thing. I don't know if Dave McGuinness is in the chat because obviously he is someone who served, and he obviously knows what it's like to work in those. To be in those kind of environments and whatnot, and if anyone else wants to share those experiences, they're welcome to do so as well. And there are just soldiers and officers and whatnot at the end of the day who are following orders. But sometimes things happen that happen that no one knows about, that you don't hear about, where innocent people allegedly get killed and there's no light shown about it, or no light shone on something like that happening on the simple basis that we want to protect the reputation of the British Armed Forces and its soldiers and whatnot, to protect them from damage, you know, when whether it's a soldier giving a wrong order or an officer giving an order they shouldn't have done, or whatever the reason is, where civilians' lives are lost. Because in wars, civilian life is always something that happens. Yeah, we all accept it. It shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have wars and conflicts and whatnot, but we do, and innocent people do lose their lives when these things happen. But there needs to be accountability when soldiers cross the line, when officers give orders they shouldn't be giving, where innocent people who have no part whatsoever in any of these conflicts, who get in the conflicts via collateral damage. Thank you, Kirsty, is the word. When they are a collateral damage and there's no repercussions whatsoever from it, and the best sometimes people get is an apology and maybe some money, but no public apology for the errors and mistakes that they made, because they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be seen as weak, if I think is the way I interpretate this. They don't want to be serious. They don't want to be seen as, you know, oh, we make mistakes and we get things wrong. No, we're perfect. You know, they don't want to be seen in any way, shape or form like that. If we carry on this way, we might get all the experience for war firsthand. Yeah. Rest of the year, I was known as a nutcracker, says Mel. Yeah, trying to break the ice, Mel, is what you're always trying to do here. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting piece there. I thought that was very interesting to share with you guys. So I've shared this funny video with you guys. Going to take a little break here, but you know, I've shared this video so many times with you guys, but you know what? I just love this one so much because it's Michael Spicer, and you just can't go wrong with this guy. Like, he's just so good. And by the way, guys, if you have, I mean this sincerely, if you have other YouTube comedians that does political funny stuff that you know of, apart from some of the ones that I regularly use, if you've got some new people for me to try, please tag me on Discord to recommend some new people to try, so that I can share with the community, because I would like to see new ones. So if you have any other chameleons and whatnot who do like political satire and whatnot for the UK or even the US, do tag me on Discord so I can have a look at them. So I can add them, because I'm at the moment I'm using the same ones over and over. So I do need some new fresh faces. So if you guys can help me out, it'd be greatly appreciated. Anyways, here's this classic one which you can never go wrong with here. It's Michael Spicer. I just love this one too much, guys. I'm sorry.
Hello there, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just deciding what to have for dinner tonight. Okay, Grandad. What? This is 2025. You don't need to think about what to have for dinner tonight. Just ask AI to do it for you. Ask AI to do everything for you. You don't want me to think for myself at all? Nope, not about anything at all. Stop thinking right now. Why are you so desperate for me not to think for myself? We just want to make your life a little bit easier. As a billion-dollar tech company, that's your aim, to make my life a little bit easier. Absolutely. We made this for you. Or is it that if I stop thinking for myself, I'm easier to control? Hey, ChatGPT, could you help me, please? I'm currently having a conversation with someone about AI. How do I convince them that AI is actually ethical and a force for good? Oh, right. Well, what's that over there?
Oh, I love it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just such a big fan. This is my favorite one of Michael Spicer more than any other one, simply because of it's like, stop thinking for yourself. Let AI do everything for you. It's a classic, guys. It's a classic. It's just one of my favorites, where he puts that face on of just like, let AI do everything for you. It's just too good, guys. It's too good. Secret Moron, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend, my friend. Good to see you there, looking in chat. Hopefully, I hope I haven't missed anybody here just while I'm as well, just for reference there. Just a quick reminder, of course, guys, that if you want to financially support me at all in any way, shape, or form, guys, you can do so by buying me a coffee. A link is in the it's pinned at the top of the comments, so I made it a bit easier for you guys if you want to financially support me while I'm currently demonetized. Alternatively, you can also join my Patreon for a small fee as well if you want to join that as well. That's another option there as well. There's plenty of content dropping on Patreon as well, so even whether you're a paid member or non-paid member on Patreon as well, so if you want to support me on there, you can do as well. So whatever one you've done, if you can, be greatly appreciated. Obviously, if you can't, I understand that obviously not everybody is financially able to support me. I always make the most important thing is you guys take care of yourself, take care of yourself and your loved ones and whatnot before you if you can support me, great, but if not, take care of yourself most importantly. But if you want to support me in non-financial way, the best thing you can do, guys, is some of the options down here that I've been saying: hitting that like button, sharing across social media, subscribing, liking, sharing, leaving comments on my videos. All that stuff really does help support the channel, so you are supporting me just by doing those things, guys. So thank you all very much for doing that. I really do appreciate it. Right, let's carry on here. Trump is a hilarious American comedian. I think Donald Trump, I wouldn't call him a comedian. I would just call, I don't know if you're a commandant. I thought you said chameleon there. I was going to say Donald Trump is a fucking arsehole, but I think that language works as well, to be fair. There. Right. So, it's from the BBC. Kemi Badenoch warns Tory MPs against plotting and psychodrama. So, obviously, we saw this morning another Tory MP defected over the weekend. We had, I heard that there was, let me actually just double check this, guys. I heard Kemi Badenoch was doing a meeting tonight. I think it was tonight. Let me see. Is it tonight? Yeah, so let me just show you this, you guys. 1 second here. So I saw this. This was earlier today. Kemi Badenoch summoned a meeting of the 92 groups and the Common Sense group of Tory MPs. Hold on. Common Sense group of Tory MPs. Have they got any common sense? Common Sense group of Tory MPs, guys. Okay. Which are on the right of the Tory party. In a letter to all her MPs obtained by Sky News, Badenoch addressed the two defections and restated her ultimatum to others who may be thinking of following suit. She wrote, differences of opinions are part of a healthy party, but there is a clear line between disagreement and trying to damage the party from within. Those who cannot be a part of the Conservative Party that is changing in this way, they are free to make other choices. Those who want to undermine and destroy the party will be dealt with firmly and fairly. There will be no hard feelings about that, as we will create space for those who share our values and purpose here. Yeah, so they're having a meeting tonight. Have they already had it then? I don't know if they've already had it there, but I just wanted to kind of add that context because I thought that was really important for you guys. That there was a meeting tonight there, just for reference there. So let me come back to BBC here. So, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has warned her MPs more plotting and psychodrama after two defections from the party in 4 days. So, the former Justice Secretary with no balls, Robert Jenrick, became the most senior Tory to move to Russia Reform, or Reform Russia, after Badenoch discovered he was planning to defect last week and sacked him, which was a very good decision by her to sack him in the manner that she did. Andrew Rosendale, which somebody actually commented on TikTok, I think it was on TikTok or somewhere, saying, who was the Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Conservatives, made the leap to Nigel Farage's party this weekend. Now Badenoch has called some of her MPs on the right of the party to a meeting tonight to underline the message. Farage will be attending a rally with Jenrick with the former Tories' Newark constituency. The Reform Russian leader has warned that those thinking of defecting to his party that they should do so before the May elections or risk being rejected. In a letter obtained by the BBC, Badenoch insisted the defections were a minor setback, not a defining moment for our party, and called for unity. This is the thing is that it'll be interesting to see what will be the YouGov polls, what they're going to be indicating about how people feel about the Conservatives, because the last ones we saw, there was a bit of a bounce back from the Conservatives under Badenoch. And it was starting to rise. And I wonder, with these two extra defections, would that rally more fans to the Conservatives, or would that bounce back continue, or would it stale? I think that's a good question there. Honestly, not too sure. When will the Conservatives stop forcing people of colour to speak for them on sensitive issues? What a bunch of hypocrites. Luna Shock on Twitch. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Stop forcing people of colour to speak for them. You'll have to elaborate on that comment. What are you guys saying on YouTube? Farage has history, says Kirsty Hamilton. Yep. You guys talking about something else there, aren't you? Yeah, you all guys are all talking about something else there. Let me carry on. A party that has ruthlessly focused on being effective, holding the government to account, and creating a plan for the country cannot also spend its time on psychodrama and intrigue, she wrote. The Conservative all suggested MPs satisfied themselves about their own staff behaviour because a small number of individuals were actively briefing against the party while presenting themselves as Conservative sources. She warned those who want to undermine and destroy the party will be dealt with. Yet we read that already. Former Conservative, including David Gullo, was Justice Secretary, and Theresa May, have suggested the party should move towards the centre ground and leave the populist right to reform, but Badenoch dismissed this as a serious misreading of the situation. The Conservatives haven't given an indication. I don't know if the Conservatives should move to the centre. I think politically that might actually benefit them. I think they probably they would have better. I think they would probably have better centre policies than the Labour right now, probably. But the thing is, as well, is that when you're in opposition, you can kind of say whatever you want, whatever policies you want. When you're out of power, it's obviously different when you're in power. Instead, she attacked more than 20 former Tories who moved to the Farage's party as being part of a wider cultural problem, insisting defections are not about policy differences or ideology, but character, and those who put individual ambition above public service. I think a lot of people are moving where the wind blows as well there, to be fair. Lunastock on Twitch says, they selected a bunch of people of colour like Sunak to speak for them on unpopular topics like deporting immigrants. These black and Indian people are like puppets on strings within the Conservative Party. So you're implying that Rishi Sunak... I mean, I don't think that was the reason why Sunak was appointed Prime Minister per se, but I can also understand why you would think that, because of their colour of skin, that they could be used as a shield to defend their actions when it comes to immigration. So I do get that argument there, but I'm not. Obviously, I don't want to place criticism on them based on their skin of colour, but on their political choices there. But I can see where you're coming from that comment, if I'm honest there. I can understand that. The Conservatives are falling into fagorism, says Jow there. Mr. E says, a cabbage older than a lettuce. What's the cabbage? Is that Mr. Farage? Jow says they use narratives to control. What interests them is the money in your pocket. Yeah. She also told MPs the Conservatives are stronger, more united now. I don't know about that. When they stop defecting, maybe they'll be a bit more united, but that's not happening right now. That's the problem. It's not happening right now. And there's, like this ultimatum is not really going to stop people switching sides. But for me personally, right, the thing that angers me the most about the Conservative Party is that they're just not sorry for the mistakes of the past. They're generally not sorry. And it's the same bunch. These are the same bunch of people. These are the same bunch of people that governed for the last 15 years. Okay, there were a few changes here and there. But that shadow cabinet is, a lot of them are just the same bunch. There's a lot of them the same bunch there. Not enough new bodies. I said this before about the Conservatives. I said if you change that shadow cabinet with a whole bunch of Conservatives who haven't been ministers, you could get away with probably a few junior ministers. But those who weren't at the top end of the government, of the Conservative times in government, they would actually probably get more voters because it would be new faces. But some people want to still cling on to power there. So we got two more stories here, you guys. I want to share this one here. Let me clear some of these up. It's just a short one here from Sky News before we go to our piece from Byline Times here. So Walter has returned to the last 500 homes in Harrietsham after the latest outrage Southeast water. So we looked at a story this morning, just thinking, and I was thinking, is this finally going to be over for people in the Southeast, those who have been suffering from these water effects, guys? So the Southeast Water Incident Manager Matthew Dean added water stations were still in place as a precaution and said, once again, we're sorry to any customers affected by the supply issue. So water has been restored to all properties after another outage in Kent over the weekend, Southeast Water has said. So apparently, I'm going to wait and see. I hope I don't hear another story about this again, because if I do, I'll be fucking furious. Excuse my language, guys, but I really do need to get this off. Just because, water is so important, and it's outrageous that we have a water company that's not being held to account over this. We have a lot of water companies not held to account over this, but the fact that people have gone weeks and weeks and their Christmas is completely and totally bloody ruined thanks to Southeast Water is just absolutely outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. And again, another prime example of what happens when you let capitalism and private companies control something that we all need. And that is our water. So according to the water company's incident manager, he said the last 500 properties saw water return to after a leaking repair on Sunday night. He said early on Sunday around 4,500 properties were experiencing little to no water. He added water stations were still in place to precaution and said once again we're sorry to any customers affected. They're not really sorry, guys. Just want to see if they've The regulator was acting investigating whether SCEW had breached its license conditions by failing to meet customer service standards, vital by offering appropriate support for those affected. If it's failing to meet customer service standards, what do you guys think? What do you guys think here? Do you think South East Waters? Do you think they met customer standards by denying them access to their water and by making them queue, some of them for hours to get big bottles of water? You know, by them having to pour water down their own toilets because they won't flush, or not being able to have a bath or a shower. Do you think, this company met its license conditions and met customer service standards? What do you honestly think? The fact that it was... I don't need an answer there, guys. You already know what my answer is. If the regulator decides SCW has breached conditions and should be stripped of its license supply, conforming to special administration regime until new buyers inbound. They should do this, but I guarantee you Labour will do everything to stop this from happening. Because Labour do not want to nationalise our water companies. They will try to stop it being nationalised. Because Labour don't want to nationalise the water companies. Even though it makes all the bloody sense in the world to do so. Right, so I've got a last story here for you guys. It's an old one, but I do think it's worth sharing with you guys here. A reminder of just how cruel, and yeah, the word cruel comes to mind when we think about, how we've had a lot of cruel Home Secretaries here. You just think like, how dark and how evil can our Home Secretaries get, guys? Can we get someone nastier than Suella Braverman? Yes. Can we get someone nastier than Priti Patel? How low can the bar go when it comes to Home Secretaries? And you know what? I thought Yvette Cooper was the bar was not as bad as those two. But the fact, obviously, she prescribed Palestine Action as a terrorist organisation I think it was outrageous, but there you go. But don't agree with the decision, but at the end of the day, it is what it is right now. But, how do we think this one is done, guys? So, excuse me, like I said, this was an old story, but I still think I want to share this with you guys. So, a British woman was left stranded in Hungary after the Home Office refused to let her bring her niece to the UK. There's going to be a lot of stories like this. The only thing is that you're not going to hear so many of them because there's only so many stories you can report about these, you guys. UK needs to control its waters either by regulating it or nationalising it. Well, it does a terrible job of regulating it. But Phil Morehouse continues to justify that we should be regulating it all because of the debt. And I genuinely mean this. Fuck the debt. We should nationalise it. Like, I don't give a shit about the fucking debt. Like, nationalise it. It's our fucking water. If it's controlled by the state, it will be prioritised for the people, by the people. That's it. It's just logical, It's just logical. Good night, Kirsty. Thanks for popping in. And by the way, I did see your coffee. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate your support. So thank you for the coffee, Kirsty. And thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. You take care and have a great rest of the week, whatever your plans are. All critical national infrastructure should be nationalised, says Steve McMahon. Of course it should, but we're talking about that. This is Britain, and we don't want to make things easy. Well, this is England in particular. We don't want to make things easier for ourselves. No, we want to make it more difficult. That's why our friends in Scotland use common sense and realise, we're not going to follow England and Wales and privatise the water because, we want to actually protect our water. And look how well that's done for them. So, yes, let's go back to this story. The 13-year-old girl who was given parental responsibility over after being abandoned by her parents could be sent into state care because of the Home Office's decision. Yeah. State care because of the Home Office. 13-year-old girl, guys. Let's read into this. So a British citizen has been left stranded in Hungary with her 2 children while attempting to bring her 13-year-old niece to the UK. Natalie is the girl's legal guardian and has full parental responsibility for the child, who was previously in state care. And yesterday, at the time of the article, The Home Office refused her niece a visa to settle in the UK under the EU settlement scheme, citing a lack of evidence. Despite providing all the required documentation, including translated copies of birth certificates showing evidence of a family relationship, the Home Office stated that the child would be refused settlement as admission to the UK is not necessary to safeguard the child's best interest. Natalie is a settled UK resident with indefinite leave to remain under the EU settlement scheme. A UK home study assessment by Hartlepool's Children's Service confirmed that she can provide a safe and loving home for her niece. She fears that her niece, who was abandoned by her parents in May 2025, will now be sent back to institutional care. I'm stuck in Hungary, trapped between two impossible choices, said Natalie. I must either stay here, which isn't my children's home, or return to the UK without my niece, abandon her back into state care. That would be highly traumatic for her. She added, I met every requirement, submitted every document, and followed instructions from both governments in the UK and in Hungary. I'm trying to remain calm, but I'm exhausted and running out of funds. I can't even fuel my car. I don't know what more I can do. Natalie travelled to Hungary on the 1st of November to bring her niece to a local UK V1 centre for a biometric appointment and to submit the final paperwork. The child protection application was made on the 7th of November. Following the appointment to the UK V1 centre, the family were informed the process would be swift as they had paid for priority processing. Priority processing, guys. You can actually fast track your process. I hate shit like that. The Home Office refusal was issued without prior clarification or further requests for documents. Official courts and social service records had been provided, alongside birth certificates indicating that the teenager was related to Natalie and that she had been in state care after being abandoned by her parents. Alongside concerns for her niece, Natalie fears that further delays will mean that her two children, who were born and raised in the UK, face attendance and safeguarding penalties by local authorities when they return to Britain. My children are missing school and separated from their father, she said. They are stuck in a foreign country where they cannot speak the language and struggle to communicate with anyone except me. It's an impossible situation. Prior to a visa refusal, Natalie's local MP, Jonathan Brash, had attempted to urgently contact the Home Office to emphasise that this is a child protection and family reunification case supported by the UK and Hungarian authorities. The Home Office responded, indicating that the visa application would take longer to process as the family are outside the UK. The department said in its refusal letter that the final decision took into account Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which protects the right to respect for private and family life. Addressing her niece, the letter states, I am not satisfied that there are serious and compelling family or other considerations made in your conclusion undesirable. As usual, the Home Office says it is our long-standing policy not to comment on individual cases. Each application for entrance clearance is considered on individual merits and in accordance with the immigration rules. When assessing any application, the intentions and circumstances of the applicants are paramount appointments. In accordance with immigration rules, right? This person did everything that she was supposed to do. All the information, all the documentation, all the questions, cooperation with the UK government, with the Hungarian government. She went through absolutely bloody everything, guys. Did everything that she was told to do, right, in terms of getting all the required documents, all this kind of stuff, fast track process, all this kind of stuff. And then she gets told, no. I am not satisfied that there are serious and compelling family and other considerations made with your inclusion undesirable. And this is a prime example of why the Home Office doesn't work. Never mind the fact that the Home Office is doing a piss poor job when it comes to illegal, well, there's no such thing as illegal, people crossing the channel, right? Never mind that, okay? This is a prime example of a perfectly reasonable case of those who have already lived and born in the UK, and just because this person, this child, who wasn't born in the UK, all of a sudden there's a big problem here. Just absolutely insane. So guys, we're going to wrap up with one last video here to see ourselves out here. From Exploding Heads, I hope you guys enjoy this funny video here to see ourselves out. Home Office says Naffle, says Kev. Yeah, absolutely there. Legally, I don't know how it is in the UK, but here if a child is on someone's care, they need to be with them. If the person is a British resident, then what's the issue? I don't think the person is a British. I think that's the issue there. But even if that person's not British, even with all the, like, for me, that the thing that angers me the most is that they've given everything that they've given, and it's still not enough. Like, all the documentation, all the preparation, cooperation, all that kind of stuff, and it's still not enough. Like it's one thing, yeah, for people to kick off about people coming across on the boats and not have any record or any information about them and whatnot. This person here did everything right. Did everything right, and the child was still denied. Was still denied. That's the thing that triggers me, right? Anyways, I've got another classic one here it's an old one here from Exploding Heads here, about several months ago, guys. But I hope you guys enjoy this one before we head out here. This is from Exploding Heads here with the headline of "Becoming Reform Russia to Starve Off the Threat of Reform Russia." So yeah, Labour's becoming a bit. Is it me, or does Labour feel a little bit like Reform UK there? I'll let you be the judge of that.
Minister, Labour have introduced a cap on immigration, tougher rules on welfare claimants, and a review of net zero targets. Aren't you Reform UK in disguise?
No, absolutely not. We are Labour. We are steeped in Labour traditions. We're doing all these things compassionately.
You said the other day, British jobs for British workers. That's literally a reform slogan.
Yes, but when we say it, we mean it in a Laboury way, with fairness and with a few more regional accents thrown in.
You're also promising to clamp down on woke nonsense in public institutions. Again, that's pretty similar to reform.
Yes, but look, there's a huge difference between the way we are tackling the divisive culture war distractions and the way reform are. I mean, ours is with nuance. Ours is with committees. Theirs is just an angry WhatsApp group that accidentally printed a manifesto.
You're reviewing low-traffic neighbourhoods, criticising net zero deadlines and promising to take back control of borders. Are you just adopting reform policies because they're polling quite well?
No. It shows we are listening to the voters. It's just pure coincidence that a lot of voters right now are sounding a bit reformy.
You've discussed plans to force jobless people to wear high-vis jackets, even indoors?
What that is we are boldly doing something about protecting the welfare system. We are visibly doing something about it. And look, if someone's out of work, they may as well spend their time reflecting light. That might very well help the planet in ways that even the experts don't understand.
Well, that all sounds good. We've had enough of experts anyway. Minister, thank you.
Thank you.
Minister.
Yeah, apparently you've had enough of experts there, guys. Apparently you've had enough of experts there, indeed. So, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came along tonight. Thank you, guys, for all your comments. It's greatly appreciated. Steve McMahon, thank you so much for the free coffees here. I hope Google fixes your problem soon. I hope so too, my friend. I hope so too, because you know it's not ideal, this situation. It's not. I'm sorry, guys, that it's taking so long, but it's not like I said, guys. It's not in my hands. Like, it is not. So all I can say is it's not in my hands. So. Thank you again, Steve, for the coffees. I appreciate it. That really does make a big difference, guys. And I know that many of you guys want the membership back and want to be able to do super chats and all that. And I miss all that too, guys, and the custom emojis and all that kind of stuff. The sooner I can get back to it, the better. Because we can have a little bit more fun then, can't we? But until then, guys, yeah, if you can support me that way, great. But obviously, for those who have, thank you. I really do appreciate it. But guys, off the negativity, we've got some great stuff coming up this week. As you guys know, we've got global news is going to be at 4 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock, guys. I'm going to be doing, so we'll have the Good Morning Show as usual from Monday to Friday at 11 o'clock. So if you guys can join me for that, as usual, greatly appreciated. Global news is going to be at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So if you can join me for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. So late afternoon sort of show on Tuesday. So if you can join me for that, great. If not, no big deal there. And then on Wednesday, we will have Good Morning Show at 11, followed by Prime Minister's Questions. So we'll go into Prime Minister's Questions straight after that. And then we'll have the Watch Along show on Wednesday evening. So if you can join me for that, one of the shows that I do enjoy. Fortunately, last week's one, I didn't think it had as much information, but maybe this one will definitely have a bit more here. Thursday evening, guys. I'm so happy to have the first EcoFlake show of 2026 with myself and One Angry Pagan. Really looking forward to that, guys. Plenty to discuss there as well. So do join us for that there. I'm really, really looking forward to that. So if you can do, please feel free to do so. I also want to just mention to you guys as well before we head out that next month's roundtable, Ramman Talks will be on next month's roundtable. It will be on Thursday, the 26th of February. Ramman Talks has already said he's going to be on board with that. I just haven't put his name up there. For anyone who goes next time anybody is on the Bin podcast with Mikey Famine, can you guys tell him to respond to my emails, please? Because he said he wanted to be on the roundtable. I want to get him on next month's one if possible. So if you guys can tell him to respond to my email, it'd be greatly appreciated, because I do want to get him on for another show, because he was up for it last time. So I definitely like to get him back on if possible. So if you can let him know for me on my behalf, it would be greatly appreciated, guys. So guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday, whatever you guys are doing. But before I go, I just have to say, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitch if you haven't already as well, and check out Rumble and Patreon. There'll be plenty of content dropping over the week on them too. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.